Alright, let's dive into this because the situation in the Middle East right now is like a powder keg, and everyone's got their fingers crossed hoping it doesn't blow. Here's the deal, the Houthis, backed by Iran, are ramping up their attacks on Saudi-backed troops in Yemen, and it's getting messy. But what really caught my attention is Senator Ted Cruz's call for the US to arm Iranian protesters. Personally, I think this is a double-edged sword. On one hand, it sends a strong message to Iran's regime, but on the other, it could escalate tensions to a point of no return. What many people don't realize is that arming protesters isn't just about giving them guns, it's about potentially destabilizing an entire region. If you take a step back and think about it, this could be the US indirectly pushing for regime change, which is a risky game. This raises a deeper question: is the US prepared for the consequences if Iran's government collapses? Or are we just setting the stage for more chaos? Now, let's talk about the Houthi attacks in Yemen. The recent strikes in Marib have left dozens dead, including civilians, and it's clear that the conflict is far from over. What makes this really interesting is how the Saudi-led coalition is responding. They're not backing down, but they're also not escalating openly. A detail I find fascinating is the coalition's statement that they won't stand idly by, but they also don't want to change the balance of power. In my opinion, this is a delicate dance. They're trying to maintain control without triggering a full-blown regional war. But here's the thing, the Houthis aren't just fighting for control in Yemen, they're part of a larger proxy war between Iran and Saudi Arabia. What this really suggests is that every move in Yemen has implications for the broader Middle East. Speaking of broader implications, let's talk about the defense agreement between Saudi Arabia, Turkey, and Pakistan. This is huge. These three countries are forming a united front, and it's not just about defense, it's about sending a message to Iran and its allies. From my perspective, this alliance is a direct response to the growing influence of Iran-backed groups like the Houthis. What many people don't realize is that this agreement could shift the power dynamics in the region significantly. If you take a step back and think about it, this isn't just about security, it's about geopolitics and who gets to call the shots in the Middle East. Now, let's circle back to the Strait of Hormuz. Iran and Oman are close to a deal, but it's not a full reopening. This is where things get really tricky. President Trump insists the strait is sort of open, but the reality is that transits are still extremely limited. What makes this really interesting is Iran's insistence on a new security model. In my opinion, this is Iran trying to assert control over a vital waterway while saving face. But here's the kicker, if other nations don't accept this new model, it could lead to more tensions. What this really suggests is that the Strait of Hormuz is becoming a bargaining chip in the larger US-Iran conflict. Finally, let's talk about Trump's approach to all of this. He's denying munitions shortages but admits some weapons are a little bit tighter. Personally, I think this is classic Trump, downplaying challenges while projecting strength. But what many people don't realize is that this war is straining US resources more than he's letting on. If you take a step back and think about it, the US is juggling multiple conflicts, and this could be a weak spot. This raises a deeper question: how long can the US sustain this level of military engagement without overextending itself? In closing, the situation in the Middle East is a tangled web of alliances, proxy wars, and high-stakes diplomacy. From the Houthi attacks to the Strait of Hormuz negotiations, every move has ripple effects. Personally, I think we're at a critical juncture where one wrong step could lead to a full-blown regional war. What this really suggests is that we need to be asking harder questions about our role in this conflict and whether we're prepared for the consequences. So, what do you think? Are we on the brink of something bigger, or is this just another chapter in the never-ending Middle East saga? Let me know in the comments below.